Welcome to Coach's Corner, Cat fans. Thanks for joining me once again on this Monday afternoon with Mike. And we're going to be a little shorter than last week, but we're going to review the New Bremen game, preview the Versailles game, which is at Versailles on Friday, and then talk about a couple players. And then Dan Kenny will be the spotlight coach today. And then we'll move on and keep trucking on in this week 9 already, as we move into game 9, and of course we have Versailles this week and Marion next week. So looking back last week's game with New Bremen had come in at 6-1, their only loss being to Marion, and so we knew this was going to be a good tough game. And fortunately for us, and fortunately for the fans, we got a good 4-quarter game and really down to the wire. A couple late stops by our defense in the fourth quarter. One interception and then a knockdown on 4th down, which preserved the win, I guess. But the game got off to first quarter, really not a whole lot going. They did get a score to lead 7-0, and then we came back and got a couple scores in the second quarter, and then the third quarter we scored I think 2 in a row to get it to 28-7, and felt pretty good. Or I guess 27-7, felt pretty good. But they came right back and got 2 scores, and then we had one long 55-yard run by Marcel to get it to 35-21, but they came right back and got a score, and we just had to hold on there at the end. We didn't get a first down or two late in the game, but the defense stepped up and got a stop and got a pick, and so that really sealed the deal there at the end. If you're a casual football fan, or really even any fan, really an exciting game, and really a pretty well played game. Well, we had 0 turnovers, and I think New Bremen had 2. We intercepted a pass and caused a fumble on a kickoff. So those two turnovers, might have been the difference. You never know, but as we all know, that turnovers is a huge part of who wins and loses the game. The other thing going into the game that everybody knew, or everybody was hoping for, was that the quarterbacks would perform as expected in the way they've performed all year. So Marcel Blassingame, our number 5, against David Homan, their number 5, and 2 young guys that are multi-sport athletes, both about 6'6'1", 170 pounds, both number 5, both leaders of their team, and so it came. Those 2 were the 2 leaders of the game, and both performed really well. I think Marcel at 130 yards rushing and 17 for 24 passing, which is excellent, and no turnovers. And then David Homan, I think 70 rushing, but he had 250 passing. So about even, pretty even with statistics. Both had a couple touchdowns, and so those 2 really performed like you would expect 2 seniors that have been both playing for 3 years, and so hats off to those 2 to be the highlighted guys in that game. But two good teams battling it out. New Bremen is Division 7, so I look to see them go really far into the playoffs. There's a couple good teams in their region. Of course, Minster is playing really well right now, and Fort Laramie's a good team, which they're in the same region. So there's some good teams in their region that they'll have to deal with in the playoffs. So feel good about that game. This week we go to Versailles. Versailles is a defending state champs, Division 5, but they have bumped down to 6 this year, and we've bumped up to 5. So we will not face each other in the playoffs. Versailles graduated quite a few guys last year, but they still do have a senior, mainly seniors playing this year, although we think their best player is a junior, number 17, Osborne. Really good player. On offense, this 17 Osborne plays slot, but he also plays quarterback. And they have a big kid named Stonebreaker that plays quarterback and receiver. He's number 3. He's like 6'8", good basketball guy. So we don't know which we're going to get, or we'll probably maybe see both of them. So that creates some problems, because when Stonebreaker's out receiver, he's 6'8", and you get down on the goal line, and he just has a mismatch, a good matchup with lots of players, especially at the high school level. And then there, Osborne, number 17, he's a really good receiver, but when he's at quarterback, he's a dual threat guy. He can run and throw a little bit. So that makes it a little bit more difficult to know which one to prepare for. I guess we'll prepare for both. Defensively, they are kind of an old school 4-man, 4-4 cover 3 team. They do blitz enough in a couple of the games that I watched. They did blitz a lot. A couple of the games they sat back and just played more basic. So again, you got to prepare for those blitzes and just good, stout, solid football players. I would say, they don't maybe have a linebacker or whatever that really jumps out at you, but they're all pretty good, and trying to find those mismatches and weak links and things like that is difficult when you play a team that's really well coached and they play really hard, and so that'll be a good challenge for us. You watch them and you say, I don't know that guy's that great or that great, but they're all good. So then they're not giving up many touchdowns. So it's going to be a really good challenge. So we do play at Versailles at Whole Field, and over the years they remodeled it, and it's a really good fun place to play. So let's move on. Player spotlights. I got 3 this week because we're down to the last 3, and I didn't want to save one for next week, just a single guy. So Shane Ontrop, Evan Homan, and Hayden Kunk. Shane is 68, Evan 72, Hayden 73. So back up to Shane. Shane is a starting guard for us, and last week he played a lot of defensive end. We have an injury to one of our junior defensive ends, Andrew Jones, but I think he'll be back this week. So Shane stepped in, and I think he really likes defense probably more. In the Delphus game, he had an awesome week, tipped a pass, and he caught it and intercepted and made a touchdown. So that was a lot of fun for Shane. But he's done a great job at our guard spot. A really good pass protector, and he's a real lean, muscular a guy who can really run. So he doesn't really look like a lineman as much as some of the other guys, but a good puller, and he just has a smile on his face all the time and doing really well. He works all the time. I think he gets home like at 8, 9, 10 at night, and he's part of the YES program at school, so he gets out early or comes in late, whichever it is. So he's working all the time, and so good for Shane. Evan Homan, number 72, is our left tackle, and has been a 3-year starting offensive lineman, and doing a great job. He kind of runs the show on that O-line, and is a really good player. He's a in my opinion, an all-state caliber guy, maybe offensively and defensively. But he's playing great on both sides of the ball. He has a lot of fun. He's our big C guy, gets everybody fired up. So on defense, he's playing defensive tackle, and occasionally we go to a defense where he plays right over the center, plays nose, and has played maybe the most plays of anybody on the team this year. He's out there almost all the time. We try to get him a few breaks, but he's been a warrior in that way. Last week I think he was out there almost the whole game. So he's making plays, and he's big, strong, worked his butt off the last 2 winters to make himself a really good football player, and he wants to go on and play next year, and hopefully he will make a decision here pretty soon. He's been offered to some schools, some Division II schools, and those schools would be like Findlay and Ashland, Tiffin, those types of schools that I think he wants to stay around home, and so hopefully he'll get one of those spots and continue to play. The third young man is Hayden Kunk, number 73. Hayden is a backup defensive end and offensive tackle, and so Hayden did a good job last winter, working hard, and hopefully to get one of those starting spots, and it just didn't quite happen, but he's had a good attitude for us, and he's really helping us on scout teams, and we've got him in quite a bit in several of our games. So hopefully we can get him in there for some snaps these next several weeks here as we as we play these last two and then work our way into the playoffs. So Shane Ontrop, Evan Homan, and Hayden Kunk. Coach's Spotlight, Dan Kenny this week. Dan is a Coldwater guy, but he teaches at New Bremen, so I'm guessing he's having a good day at school today, with us winning the game the other night. Dan played for us my very first year here back in Coldwater, and I think the season was 02 maybe, I think. Dan was a good receiver and defensive back safety for us. Like I said, he was away. He teaches at New Bremen and coached at New Bremen several years, and finally we got him back coaching here. And he coaches the safeties and the receivers, and does a really good job. Those were his positions. So Dan is a really smart guy, and digests and dissects the other team and comes up with tip sheets of, hey, they're going to do this in this formation and percentages and all those types of things to really help our guys get dialed in on what they're seeing and what to play and what things to look for when they're in certain formations. So he does an excellent job there. Dan's wife Natalie is our school counselor, and so there's a good tie in there with school with our high school with Dan and so we're really fortunate to have Dan back. After being away for a little while, and good thing we have him back. So Friday night we travel to Whole Field in Versailles, 7:00 start, and hopefully we can get another win and roll into that Marion game. Both of us at 9-0. That would be fun for the fans and fun for all of us.